possessions. I want to do this. I want to see an exorcism, but I don't want nothing to follow me home. I don't want to have any problems. Well, guess what? Sooner or later, you get involved with this field, you're going to have something that's going to end up occurring and end up happening. So I always tell people you got to be guarded, you got to be careful, and you just got to do it, you know, with a respectful perspective of it, and just prepare yourself that if, you know, you're going to get involved with it, sooner or later you're going to have something that's going to end up happening paranormal. So it's, that's about the best way I can actually describe that or say how I would think about it. Well,
when you start giving recognition to do you think you can create more and additional activity?
do I feel that you can create more activity by giving it the recognition? Yes. Because again, you know, we're dealing with the element of energy. So therefore, people going in, people investigating, you're going to have activity. How many times so many of us have been in different locations, whether it's in a residential or, you know, doing one of our other types of things out there, and certain groups of people have more experiences than other people. Certain people throw off more energy, certain people are more apt to have things occur and things happen to them.
I love it.
Did that answer it for
There you
you?
go.
Was
I
that
knew you
what
were
you were looking for?
You can sweat all over me. I'm kidding, I really don't want to. Be fresh, I love it.
He talked about the labor and how they, as many times as it's investigated, everybody finds something new. And it's possible with the law of attraction that they're actually bringing in new stuff each investigation.
Yeah, but I answered that. I said yes.
So, Dave, how many times, remember doing darkness events, we would be at all kinds of haunted places, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and a group would come in, third floor, whatever, and someone's like, "Oh my God, I think I'm communicating with my grandma," and would be like, "Oh my God, was your grandma here at Waverly?" "No, she's never even been in Kentucky. She's on the West Coast." And so that's something that was connected to that person, and that person is now in a haunt that's a profound haunt. They're scared, their senses are heightened, they're feeling things that are probably around them all the time, but in a place like that, it gets amplified, and that's something that she carries with her, right? And so we've seen that time and again, where there'll be activity with one group, and then the next group comes in, and there's nothing. Because each person is a different ingredient in the stew, and what they bring to it, and their sensitivities, and so on. And so what Carmen's saying, like I've seen it
See, I learned
repeatedly,
something
where
tonight.
like people are bringing in stuff that has nothing in the world to do with the location, and everything to do with the individuals that are there. And we've seen that time and again.
Well, there's also an interesting element of paranormal investigating where they're actually doing spiritual archaeology. So I am with you on the fact that sometimes, you know, by the law of attraction, by opening that door, other things come. But I also think that there are multiple layers. Just because we're going in to try to communicate with Yankee Jim at Whaley House, he existed there, right? But there's 100 other levels. You know, people that lived there, that worked there, that have gone through there. It's, you know, a block away from a cemetery. You turn that light on, is it going to attract ghosts? Sure, but that's kind of the fun of then discerning what are you there for. And I know a lot of the shows, at least have told me, and we do it, we try to clear before we leave. And we'll do what we can, how we can. You know, I don't know that we've got any magical gifts that will help clear these spirits, but we do prayers. They just don't show them on TV. They don't show that we're trying to help anything that's stuck there get out, or anything that might be lost. Because a lot of people love the paranormal, they love demonology, but if you bring up God, they get pissed off. So we do try to be very careful of how that's represented on the shows. But yeah, I mean, we all have that concern of what are we uncasing. But sometimes, you know, there's different levels, and each group kind of connects with a different aspect of that haunting.
Do you ever think that there's something that's intending to be something that's
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, and I just want to touch back on that. We're talking about different levels, but we also need to remember that everybody is different with the way they're perceiving the paranormal. So you can have somebody walk in who's investigated the paranormal forever, whatever, be very calm. Somebody who walks into the same place and be overly frightened and prepared, so now they think everything they hear or see is a ghost, or they're talking to their dead grandmother who has nothing, no involvement, but now a mass of people are fueling that. So there's nothing going on paranormal, but it's just, a person is smart, people are dumb. Now you think of that, because when it comes down to it, people fuel other people. So if there's nothing going, if I walk into a place, I've investigated, thousands of locations, and I take my son Logan, who I love dearly, but he's definitely terrified of the paranormal. So I walk into a place that's possibly haunted. I mean, Logan's going to be acting 100% different than I am. And Logan might have all these experiences, which might have nothing to do with the paranormal, but because he's already frightened. Just like I could take somebody who's never been into a haunted place and go to a non-haunted place and tell them it's haunted. Now, are they going to have experiences because I've told them it's haunted? Because there's nothing going on there. So I think we need to take that into conclusion. Like, I love Waverly Hills, and I've been on a bunch of those, Dave, with you. We've investigated some great places, but you do sometimes get certain people from the groups who are like, oh, I'm having this experience, and let's be honest, we're like, what the fuck, come on. Because some of those people are so set up that they're gonna have some sort of activity when they're there, that no matter what happens, it's gonna be paranormal. And it just drives you crazy, but, it happens.
Hi, guys. I've had the privilege of knowing all of you growing up, and I am a psychic medium. And I would like to know how you feel. I know Cindy. What does this psychic medium bring to an investigation when you know, like you said, someone that you know might be fearing the dead and might have a different experience, but you know that's their own psyche. But a psychic medium brings something to the table. And what do you think really a psychic medium brings to a ghost, an investigation in your own personal experience? Because I've grown up watching all and I myself am one, and it just, to me, it brings a lot to the table to me, but it can have a double-edged sword. You could have, like you said, someone scared and they'll have their own experiences. But then you'll have someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. What do you think the difference is between having one and not having one?
I think with mediums, and if you've seen Chip Coffey or Chris Fleming, you know they're tools that we use on an investigation.
Here. Sorry.
That was good.
I know. Well, me too. He blocked me on Twitter.
Things occur to back up or to prove that what they're saying happens, and that's important for the mediums as well. They don't want to know. They don't want those situations.
Turn it around to
It's great to have them, but I mean, like anything, you can have a person who thinks, since we started this show with Darkness Radio 15 years ago, there were a handful of mediums. One out of every two of you is a medium in this room. So everybody's opening up, and I'm not putting you down, but there's this sensitivity, and everybody's at different levels. So it's knowing that person, trusting that person, having seen them do enough to know that the information you're getting, there's probably enough ground to work with.
Yeah, I want to say it's interesting because when I worked with Jason and Grant, we did ghost hunters. I didn't do any of the mediumship. I was there as an investigator, but I was tapping into stuff and kind of leading us through the place. And Jason said a great thing. Mediums are kind of like I think you said like a guard dog or like a guide dog or something like that. It's like bringing a dog in and sniffing out. Yeah, like a bloodhound. And it's true, and it's a great analogy. But as we know, there's many different types of mediums that will connect with different types of energies or spirits and stuff like that. For me, I've always been different because I grew up in a house that was haunted. I saw ghosts, communicated with them, but not everybody believed me. you know, and I get teased at school or even in the neighborhood, but then when I saw a documentary about ITC and I started recording the voices in the house, for me it's like, I feel a medium needs to also have some type of validation, you know, not just history, like, because, you know, someone can research something, just say that they picked it up, and that's a problem. But when you have certain technology or ITC that validates what the psychic's saying, it goes hand in hand. So what that means is you have investigators that are using various devices, forms of ITC, and I love ITC. I think it's very important. If I'm saying there's a female here and she's telling me something, and I take the recorder out and you hear the female saying the same thing. I mean, that's right there, it validates what I'm saying. And I think that's important because I want to be validated to make sure that I'm getting what is being said. So it can add to an investigation. But the problem is, you know, some psychics that are off, or some psychics that aren't like psychics. And same thing with paranormal investigators, not like paranormal investigators. So it can become tricky. So as a viewer, you have to critique that and say, you know, I got to judge this. Is this person real or are they not real? If we look at integrity, and that's very important, and integrity has to be important, why are you going there? Why is a psychic medium going there? Are they really going there to help the family? Are they going there to help the spirit? It goes in hand in hand. When I go, I want to help that family, but I also got to help that spirit. I want to see why they're there. I'm going to counsel them. I'm going to talk to them. A lot of it you don't get to see in the show. And then if I can help both them and the family create peace, or the spirit leaves, and they got to leave on their free will. You can't force them to. So there's a lot of factors that go in. Mediumship, as long as a person's legit and integral, they can bring a huge part to the investigation because they're the eye that other people can't see.
And I think it's important because, and Chris, I think you even agree with this, integrity is important when it comes down to it, because let's be honest, I mean, there are some people out there claiming they're sensitive, and the whole idea of them being sensitive is, let me run to the library, research this house before I film an episode, and then come up with all this information. And the fact of the matter is, if you use a so-called sensitive that you respect, great, but somebody doing something like that, and when they get caught, they don't just destroy their own career. They kill every case that they've ever investigated with every paranormal investigator. And that's a big liability. Like, to each their own when it comes to sensitive. I believe in people that are sensitive and so forth, but I'm not willing to hinge my investigation on it. I want, hey, if you feel you're picking up something over here, great, I'll set a camera up. But I want the video and the audio to be able to be put out there, let the world make their decision on it, because that's something that they can see, they can hear, not just basing their whole belief system on what one person is claiming. And like I said, I know a lot of so-called sensitives and psychics, and a lot of them are friends. Christian, you and I have been friends for years, but it's a field that does run rampant with fraud and faking things. I mean, and that's the scary thing. It's, you know, you got people selling somebody $400 candles to clear a house because they told them that there are demons in the house, when there is no goddamn demon in the house. Or somebody saying, well, you know, I'm picking up some bad energy from this mirror. Let me remove this from your house. Oh, let me put it here so you can come and pay me money to come see it at my house. Or let me sell it on eBay as a haunted mirror so I can make a killing. I mean, it's highway robbery, and that's the problem. It's so rampant with fraud and just fakes and the possibility of them destroying not just their career, but everybody's career that they've been involved in so-called helping. And, you know, then you got to question the whole $500 an hour for a phone call and shit, so whatever.
Here's my question for Chris, and it kind of ties into your appearance on Ghost Hunters, and I'll ask you this, as an investigator, someone who's tied to spirit world.
Yeah, blame him.
He's really tired, John.
As an investigator,
He's mad.
someone who's psychic, can you actually be skeptical? Because now let me finish. The idea as a paranormal investigator by nature is to be skeptical, is to take everything with a grain of salt,